This is without a doubt the 3 best days of golf that I have ever had in my entire life. I thought it would be more fun for all of us and we'd all get a bigger buzz out of it if we all played our first round of golf at the same time. I'm one of those annoying people, I think, that maybe chats too much with strangers. Let me tell you this right now to kick off this episode of Road to the Road Hole. This is without a doubt the 3 best days of golf that I have ever had in my entire life. And it has nothing to do with any of the golf I actually played, except for 2 shots. That's about it. 2 of the best golf shots that I'm going to hold on to forever that really had no major impact on any other part of a round or anything like that. But the excitement, the enjoyment, and the just pure pleasure that I had being in an area that is so rich in golf history, that is so devoted to golf in every aspect, and the excitement and adrenaline and buzz that maintained for 3 days straight. There was not a single point in the 3 days where any of us went, this is a bit flat. This is 3 days in St Andrews. It was everything it could have been and more. It all kind of starts off on the Sunday morning. I wake up in my Airbnb. I've made the trip already up towards St Andrews, breaking up the journey with a round at Dunstable Castle on the Saturday and having an Airbnb, cheap Airbnb for the night before going to St Andrews that morning. And my 2 mates from Leighton Buzzard Golf Club, John and Ryland, are joining later on in the day. They're aiming to get to St Andrews for about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They have started early down in the south. So I've got a fair bit of time to kill, but I'm not messing about at all. Honestly, all I wanted to do was get up there. I wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, may have even been a bit earlier than that. And my car's already packed basically from the night before. I just need to put away my laptop, change my clothes, and get ready to go. And I'm an hour and a half away, straight up the road, 90 minutes, no stopping, no hesitation, leave no man behind. And I thundergunned it straight into the home of golf. And the route I took, and I wouldn't be able to tell you the A roads, I could probably look it up, but am I really going to put that amount of effort into a rambling podcast that no one's listening to? Probably not. The route that I took into St Andrews, you're kind of going over these country hills, been through a few small, very small towns, and there's one hill crest that you just go over, and the road is straight out in front of you as you go over the hill crest. And there's just this perfect silhouette of, I don't want to say skyline because that sounds too grandiose, but of the church and the cathedral and the kind of iconic spires that are the skyline of St Andrews. I'm going to use skyline. That's what I'm going to use. And it's sat there in front of you, and then you've just got the sea behind you, or behind the town, I should say, and that was the first bit of excitement. Like, that genuinely just got me pumping, ready to go for the next few days that were to come. And the first thing I do, like every single golfer will do when they get in St Andrews, I head down, drive straight down past the 18th green and the first tee, round the back of the old course, and down towards the new pavilion, which is in between the beach and the old course, and it's where the new course and the Jubilee both have their starting tees from. And I park up, and needless to say, I was a bit surprised that it was so empty, but then I realised it was 8:30 in the morning, and for some people, St Andrews is a fairly regular occurrence rather than anything super special, so it really wasn't too surprising. And I have to say, in like the next hour, there were a lot of people that were starting to fill into St Andrews and into the golf club, and the car park was pretty packed by 10 o'clock. But when I got there were loads of spaces and it was great. So the first thing I do is I go into the new pavilion and meet a couple of people on the desk, have a chat with them, ask about this ticket that we're getting. And it is brilliant that St Andrews provide this. 3 days of golf with unlimited golf on 6 of the 7 courses. You can guess which one isn't included in that. Of course, it's the old course. For around about £340, which at first you're thinking that's a lot of money to pay for golf. But it is 3 days over a 7-day period. So as long as you are either willing to do 3 days straight, or as long as you're willing to maybe do 2 courses a day for 3 days in a 7-day week, there's a great amount of value for money you can get out of that. Because most of the courses down there are about £175 a round. The Jubilee, the new course, and the Castle course, which is just away and on top of the hill. And we'll come on to that a little bit later. But it does mean, if you're looking to play 2 rounds of golf, you've pretty much made your money back after 1 day, and everything else is free golf if you're going on normal green fees, particularly if you're playing mainly those 3 courses, because they're the more expensive ones, along with the Eden course. And then you've got a couple of other smaller courses that are included that I think come to around about 70 quid a round normally. So as long as you're willing to put the hours in and the legwork, and because it's links golf, it's not much legwork. I found this. Obviously by the coast, it's flatter. There's not as much undulations as I'm used to at Leighton Buzzard. So doing 2 rounds of golf on foot, and especially if you've got a trolley, it's kind of a breeze if you're in even half decent shape. So if you're used to walking a lot, particularly on a hilly golf course, you'll be able to play 2 rounds of golf quite comfortably on these links courses. It's not too bad at all. So I'm there and in the clubhouse, and I get those tickets bought for the 3 of us, ready to give out to John and Ryland when they arrive a little bit later on. And then I start investigating a bit. Of course, I'm going to go into the shop, have a look around, resisted buying anything immediately, even though I am an absolute fiend for wanting to spend all of my money on golf gear, particularly if it says St Andrews Golf Course on it or St Andrews Links on it. And I made a little deal with myself that I wouldn't buy anything more than 1 golf top that I'd highlighted for myself, because obviously I prepped what merchandise I wanted to buy before I got there, because I'm a sucker like that. But I did highlight this 1 golf top that I wanted to get that had the old course written on it, but I wasn't going to buy anything else to do with the old course unless I got to play it. And that morning I also entered us as a 3-ball into the ballot for the Tuesday, and we'd entered as well the previous day for the Monday, because the old course is shut on the Sunday. And I was told by the ladies on the desk that our tickets were fine, we're good to go, we got handed them, and that if I wanted to, I could enter the singles ballot for the Monday. I was like, you know what, I might as well. For the old course, if Ryland and John want to as well, they can. I'll put it in. I'm unlikely to get it. It's like a 1 in 5 chance, I think it is. So we'll see what happens with that. And then the ladies say the new course has a kind of 50-50 split of pre-booked tee times and filtering in. So if you want to right now, you can go out onto the new course, filter on, and have a round of golf this morning. And I did think about this, and there was a little bit of me that thought, yeah, go on, jump on a course, get a round of golf in before the other boys turn up, and that'll be the perfect way to kickstart it. And I decided against it because, as I mentioned on the Dunstanburgh podcast, I like playing with other people, and I knew I'd be playing golf with other people if I filtered onto the new course. I wouldn't just be on my own or anything like that. But I did also think that, considering how excited I was to be there and how excited I knew golf at St Andrews was for Ryland and John, I thought it would be more fun for all of us, and we'd all get a bigger buzz out of it if we all played our first round of golf at the same time up at St Andrews. And I was so glad I did that. I was right to do that, because eventually when they turned up, we were all just firing on all cylinders with excitement and, oh man, how was the journey? Yeah, great. Come on, let's go and get some food and go and play golf. I can't wait for this. So I had to find a way to kill some time that morning because I was there very early and the boys weren't going to be there for another 3.5 hours maybe. We probably wouldn't get out onto the course until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So what do you do in St Andrews when you've got a free morning on a Sunday and you're not going to play golf? Well, the first thing I did was I went round the corner to a shack near the beach that was doing coffees and breakfast. And of course, I got myself a haggis, black pudding and bacon bap. Because if you're in Scotland, you got to have your daily haggis. It's just a thing. It's got to happen. So went and picked up that. And again, just got chatting with some locals. I'm one of those annoying people, I think, that maybe chats too much with strangers. But I had nothing else to do. Might as well make some friends and see what happens. And I got chatting with some locals. And one of them was a member at the golf club. And he was telling me how he always gets a kind of buzz off playing the old course, even now, even though he doesn't have to pay for it. And I was very envious of the fact that he was getting the opportunity to play these courses whenever he fancied it, and asked him how much a round of golf would be for him, or how much, his membership would be for him per year. And it was interesting because the number he threw out was different to what I was expecting. I play about £1,200 or so for my annual golf membership, and that's at a reduced rate. And I'm not even at a very expensive course, to be honest. It's a nice course, but it is not the most expensive by any stretch of the imagination where I live. And so, thinking it was going to be ludicrous sums of money, I said to this chap, like, what are you paying then annually for a membership at St Andrews? And he said, oh, well, I live in the town, we've got a place here and everything, so it's a bit cheaper. I was like, okay. I'm expecting a figure of like 1,700, maybe 2,000 if it's an in-the-town resident and it's cheaper. £360 was the number he said. He said, I think it's around about 360 quid for a 12-month membership. I've just paid that for 3 days, pretty much. And he's getting to play for free on these courses whenever he fancies. Blew my mind how cheap that was. And again, that was an on-running theme of this whole trip, how expensive golf is in the south compared to living up north and living in Scotland. And Scotland just has it right when it comes to golf and its memberships and the attitude towards golf, because golf throughout this trip in Scotland, and I'm sure I'll say this on numerous occasions, seems to be for the people, and it's not a sport that people are priced out of. You can pick up cheap old clubs in the second-hand stores around St Andrews. You can pick up golf memberships for £300 a year at great courses. And there was one course that later on we played up in the north of Scotland, up near Inverness, that was £300 but gave you 11 different courses with reciprocals. Something is drastically wrong with golf in the south to be price gouged like we do compared to how it's treated up in Scotland. But I digress. So after I'd picked up my jaw off the floor at hearing the price of a membership at St Andrews and immediately getting the cogs whirring in my head of how do I buy somewhere up at St Andrews, I finished the conversation with these lovely people. And on a Sunday, the old course is open to the public. You can't play golf on it. It's just a public place where people can go and walk their dogs, etc. And I thought, well, I might not get to play it this week. We've been unsuccessful in the ballot already once. So let's see if what happens with the next two kind of ballot put-ins that I've done and the singles ballot that I was going to enter and everything. But even if I'm unsuccessful, I've got to go on the old course and walk it a bit. So I walked the old course that morning, all the way up, all the way back down, taking it all in, having a look at the championship tees for each hole, having a look at the road hole and the championship tees on the 17th, and didn't go on the bridge, actually. I didn't do the Stewie Bridge, because again, wanted to do that with Ryland and John at some point. Or if I played the course, that's when I wanted to do it. And I'd also done it actually many years ago. I did a day trip to St Andrews and wasn't into golf as much as I am now. And just kind of took in the 18th and the 17th really when I went up there last time rather than the whole course, and did the picture on the Stewie Bridge. But did that for the morning, killed a bit more time, went around the high street of St Andrews where it's just golf shop, golf shop, golf shop, golf shop, golf shop. The whole place, as I say, lives and breathes golf. And I said this to somebody in one of the shops that morning. I said, it's 100% golf in this place, isn't it? And the lady that ran the shop just turned to me and went, golf and students is what we thrive on. And if I was 24 years old and known this, crikey, if I'd really been into golf in my younger years and treated it fairly sensibly rather than just hacking around places like Little Hay Golf Complex, I might have changed my mind about where I went for university, and I could have easily put St Andrews on my list. Unlikely to have got in, but would have tried, because imagine being a student up at St Andrews, getting a student's membership at the golf club, every Saturday, Sunday, going playing, in between lectures, using the Himalayas putting area, the natural kind of crazy golf putting area that's at St Andrews. I mean, can't think of many better ways to spend the days. Although the winter's probably fairly brutal, I have to say. It's one thing about Scotland, that the summer is great up there. We had an awesome time with late evenings, with daylight until 11 o'clock. We still saw light in the sky up at St Andrews. But I bet in winter, when it gets dark super early and that wind and rain is lashing it down on the coast, I bet it's a tough place to be. So once I'd walked the old course, I'd had some food, had my daily haggis, I'd been in the Old Pavilion, had a look in the shops, went back down to the Old Pavilion once again, and at 9 o'clock you can book tea times for the following day. And so I'd spoken to John and Ryland, and I'm not really doing this in chronological order, am I? Because this is all bouncing all over the place. But I'd spoken to John and Ryland and said, look, one of you needs to make the call at 9 o'clock to book the afternoon tea time. I'm going to make the call and book the morning tea time. And the ladies at the front desk of the Old Pavilion said to me, if it's nice weather tomorrow, which it's set to be, you have to play the castle course in nice weather. That might have been the best recommendation we had for the whole trip. And we had some pretty poor ones as well. We'll come on to that at the Jigger Inn. But those two ladies at the Old Pavilion Clubhouse gave us the best recommendation possible. And it was a game changer for the rest of the trip as well. We'll come on to that next time out on day 2. But yeah, we made the call. We booked in the castle course and we booked in the Jubilee course for the Monday. So eventually the boys arrive. And I've still been chatting with the people up at the pavilion for ages and just basically being a nuisance, but trying to be a friendly one at that. The boys arrive and we're like bouncing off the walls. We're having a great kind of buzz. How was the trip? What's going on? Isn't this place amazing? They're blown away by the view back down the 18th and the 1st towards the Old Pavilion and the old course. And we're just like kids. And somebody who worked at the golf club said this. I said, I'm really sorry if we act like grown men being children. And she said, we get a lot of that around here, don't worry. Which I understand. It probably happens all the time for them. So once we've kind of calmed down for a second, we decide we're going to go in, get some lunch. It's about 12:31ish. Get some lunch, and then we'll filter on and do the new course. Because the new course is meant to be one of the best courses up at St Andrews. And it's an easy one to get on without needing to really book a tea time. We can just filter in. So we go into the Tom Morris bar that's at the new pavilion. Really nice seating area, really nice place to be. And we asked for a table for 3, expecting we'll just be thrown into the mix of everybody. Now, at the corners of the Old Pavilion, there's a couple of starters huts on one side, and they're almost built into these mini towers, and they're on the bottom floor where the tee boxes for the Jubilee and the new course are, where the first tee boxes are. And these mini kind of circular rooms that the starters huts create this tower that almost goes through the corner of the new pavilion. So when we get put into a room at the Tom Morris bar, this very nice waitress takes us all the way through the bar where there are tables that aren't really near the glass doors or the windows or anything like that to look out onto the course. And she sits us in this like 7-person table, but right in the corner in this mini circular room where we've got a like 270 degree view of the St Andrews Links courses. So we can see people walking on the old course. We can see the tee box for the new course. We can see the tee box for the Jubilee course. You couldn't have asked for a better seat in the house. In terms of, we've just come down from this adrenaline rush of all meeting up. We're in St Andrews. This is great. And we're like, let's get some food, chill, have a beer, relax, get ready for a round of golf. And then we get put in this perfect, picturesque area to have our food. And it just raised that adrenaline and excitement once again. And, you know, obviously ordered a couple of beers, got some food in. The food was fine. There's no problems with that. It was like every step of this trip, as you're going to probably hear, there's always just something a little extra that makes it that little bit better, that little bit more special throughout being in this incredible golfing town. And we get into our little table, sit down, we're watching people tee off, having lunch, working out where else we're going to do. We've got to still get into the Airbnb, which we're just having a few problems getting the check-in numbers sorted for being able to get the keys. That was like the minor blip, and that really was a minor blip. We eventually got that sussed later on in the evening. So we get food done and go out, get our bags, and we get out onto the new course. And the guy says, yeah, be about 25 minutes or so, something like that. I'll put you in at this tee time. Go and have a putt. Go and get yourself sorted. So we're doing that. And it has been beautiful weather this whole morning. It's been a little grey at first, and then the clouds have broken and sunshine all morning. Couldn't look more picturesque. There's a few clouds in the sky, but it's light blue sky for the majority of it. Not much wind or anything like that. Stunning. We get onto the first of the new course, and it couldn't have been heavier, more torrential rain that came in. I don't know how or why the golf gods decided to punish us like that, but we got soaked. And I was not prepared. I had naively thought, summer in Scotland, am I going to need like a really big proper waterproof? Surely I'm just going to need my kind of light splash of rain gear. Oh, no. Not to be the case at all. We are sodden. And it's a good job we're wearing shorts because they're easier to dry. My shoes, I'm wearing these kind of Nike Golf Air Max shoes. They're trainery types. They're very soft and spongy, and they soak up every bit of water there could be. My gloves... one of my leather gloves is destroyed, so I have to get the waterproof glove on instead. That's soaking for the whole round. I mean, couldn't have got much wetter. Haven't got an umbrella on me because I stupidly didn't bring a golf umbrella either, so that's then a problem as well. I mean, it was just an absolute disaster for the first few holes. And it's so lucky that we were absolutely buzzing still off playing a links course at St Andrews and everything that had gone on in the morning, all the little positives that we'd had throughout the day, and the fact it was the first day up there, and we'd been waiting for this trip for so long, and it just helped us get through what was an incredibly damp opening 3 or 4 holes. And we've got water pooling on the golf course, and there's a little bit of me that's slightly worried that maybe we're going to have the round cut off early, the course is going to be closed or something like that. So we get through the first torrential downpour, and then it's just a case of throughout the rest of the round trying to dry clothes off on golf bags, dry off ourselves, and play a half decent bit of golf. And there's a few more spitter spatters of rain and everything like that. Now, I really liked the new course. I enjoyed it a lot. I've really enjoyed playing links courses this summer and the different challenge it brings. But we were slightly taken aback with the lack of a unique feel, shall we say, to the golf courses, in particular down in the town, the proper links courses of the Jubilee, the new, and to some extent, the old course that we kind of walked through. It was, a lot of people have said to me, the old course is about playing 1, 17 and 18, and everything else is a bit generic. I don't see it that way at all. I've played it enough on video games, seen it on television enough to actually think that there's a lot more to the old course than that. The new course, however, that day, I could understand why people would come away with that. It's a phenomenally kept course. It's in great condition. It's difficult, but not impossible. It's a great first course to play up in St Andrews. But there's not many unique holes about it. There's a long par 3 at the 9th, which is about 209 yards, that is slightly uphill and takes you out to the river estuary, just off the back of the links. And that's really a great hole, I think. I think it's an awesome hole. But I couldn't really recall many other holes that stood out on the new course. Now, that also may be because I was just blown away quite a bit about how nice it was and how cool it was that we were playing golf in St Andrews on their links courses. That could have also blurred the memory slightly and detracted from it a little. But there was something to be said when a few days later we were talking about this, and I'll get Ryland and John on this podcast to talk about their experiences in St Andrews, that there's no feature to it. And similarly, the other thing we found with links golf on that day is it's really difficult to gauge distances, in that there's nothing to provide perspective on that course. You can't see a tree, for instance, that then makes you think, okay, that tree is around about that far away because it looks quite a tall tree and it looks quite small to me. So working out your yardages, you really had to either have a laser or a golf watch or something that would give you kind of the nearest bunker. But there weren't that many bunkers on the course either. So you'd say like, well, that mound or that turn and bend in the course is around about 240 yards away. So actually the golfers further ahead are 300 yards away, even though they only look at this perspective to us like 180, 200 yards away. It was really difficult to work out distances. Thank God for modern technology and everything. So that's not a knock on the golf course at all. But it's just weird playing links golf when you're used to parkland golf, and it's easier to have that perspective if you know the hole is 300 yards and you can see a tree's about midway up, you know, that's 150 kind of thing. There's not that same level of distance judging taking place. But it was great. Again, I mean, like all of the courses that we're going to talk about, it was awesome. It was really fun. I didn't shoot my best at all. The shanks were still in my game with the wedges, which was a pain, so I was trying different ways to avoid that. It was a 96 I shot in the end on the new course. Not very impressive at all, but really good fun. And then we finished up, dried things off, went to the Airbnb that was only it was under a mile to the old course from the Airbnb. It was nice and close in town. It was a great place. Nice living room, couple of decent sized bedrooms. Went out for an awesome Italian just down the road. We'd decided that we were going to have the rounds of golf would decide who was buying dinner, in terms of whoever won didn't have to pay anything. If it was a tie, then there would be stipulations of who would have to pay what amount, etc. So we treated Ryland, because he obviously won, as he did all weekend on these little bets, to an Italian for the night, couple of bottles of red wine. And that was, without a doubt, one of the most exciting days of golf that I've played. Until we got to the Monday and we took on the Castle course and the Jubilee course. And I also had a heartbreaking moment when it came to the Ballot and the Old course. But we'll follow that up next time.